What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in. CHGO Bulls post-game. CHGO Bulls Summer League coverage presented by Coors Light. Go to CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I'm Pack Bulls _Pack. Joined by my guys, Big Day, Bow, BAWL Sports, and Will, the GOAT, Gottlieb, Will _Gottlieb. Our pal producer behind the controls is the one and only Young Joseph Spathis. Guys, Bulls get the OT win in Game 4 of Summer League out in Vegas. 103-99 is the final over the Atlanta Hawks. Bulls kind of let go of the rope a little bit after leading by, I think, as many as 18. See the Hawks storm back, take the lead, back and forth fourth quarter. We go to OT, and, man, DJ Steward. We will get to the game he had and whether or not the Bulls front office is paying close attention to him. Maybe the Bulls should use one of those two-way spots on that guy who just went off. We also, at the tail end of today's show, have our exclusive interview that Will and Dave got from Matas Buzelis, the Bulls rookie, when we were out in Vegas last week. Can't wait for that. But first and foremost, gentlemen, how we doing? How are everybody's sleep patterns? Everybody recovering from our Vegas trip?
I still have
not seeing you guys all day, every day now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how we actually have different residences that we all live in respectfully.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, I've yet to unpack. I haven't done that yet at all. So, yeah, but I got my cold pressed juice. I'm good, bro. I'm
okay,
good.
Well, at least you got your juice. So, Rob, with a question in the comments, who the F is making the decisions to start Andrew Funk? That was a little curious. When we got the Bulls starting lineup announcement a little bit before tip-off, we did not see Matas Buzelis' name, thinking maybe they're going to give him the night off. The number 11 rookie, he's shown enough. Maybe he'll play in the finale tomorrow against the Lakers. We'll see. But then, Will, you said you got confirmation from Bulls PR that he's not starting, but he is going to play. And then lo and behold, midway through the first quarter, there's Matas checking in. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't really know. They said that it was just the coach's decision on the broadcast. They mentioned that they just wanted to take a look at some other lineups. So, this is, I don't know if we can really put two and two together here, but they did mention the other day when Adama Sanogo did not start their first game that there was something that went out internally. They handled it and they were not going to talk about it publicly. Doesn't sound like it was that, just because of, the report that I mentioned on the broadcast that they just wanted to take a look at some different lineups, but definitely a little strange. I mean, he's really been the marquee name for this team. He's the one that everybody wants to see, but he's also a guy who gets up a lot of shots. He's not shy about getting the ball up. And so maybe they just wanted to see what Drell and Funk looked like alongside Julian Phillips and Sanogo, see if that was worth it, because I think at this point they are kind of trying to determine what to do with their last two-way roster spot, or if they want to make another change and open up the two-way spot that Funk is currently occupying. So that would be my guess, but just based on what I heard, it seems like they just wanted to take a look at some different lineups.
Yeah, it felt like that to me also. I thought they were going to give him the day off, and when I saw the starting lineup and he wasn't in it, I immediately talked myself into it being okay that he wasn't in the starting lineup. And then when I saw him come out and play, I said, oh my, thank God he is going to play this game, because I did not want to watch this game without him in it. So I was happy he played. When it gets closer to the last few games, I think this is commonplace for teams to start, trying new things to see if other guys on their squad can get, some more minutes, so we can see what those guys can do, as Will mentioned. So I'm not really surprised about it. But I'm just glad he played, and yeah, let's see if they do it tomorrow also in Game 5 against the Lakers.
It doesn't seem like it was a minutes restriction kind of thing, like, oh, we're going to try and, temper how many minutes we play the Rook, because he came off the bench, but he played 29, which was, second most minutes on the team behind DJ Stewart. more than Sanogo, more than Funk and Drell, Julian Phillips actually ended up playing 33. But so I don't know if it was coming off the bench that maybe messed with Matas a little bit, but he came off the bench and was immediately aggressive. Yet again, every single game in Summer League thus far, he's come out and, gotten the ball and done what he wants to do. Took an early three. It didn't knock it down, but then I think on the next one of the very quick ensuing possessions, made that great cut right down the middle of the lane, got the feed, and just threw down that hammer dunk. He also had that, nice Euro dunk in a transition opportunity a little bit later in the game. Clearly, Matas loves dunking the ball. I love that. After all the frustrations of never seeing Patrick Williams dunk a ball ever in his life, I love every single time we see Matas throw down a dunk with authority. But kind of similar to what we saw in the early Summer League game, Will, did not shoot well. 4 of 17 from the field for Matas, just 1 of 6 from downtown. We also saw some more of that sloppy Matas. I think he had 4 turnovers in this one tonight, including a bad one. Finished with 5 turnovers. When the Bulls were watching that lead vanish in the fourth quarter, he had a careless one where he just got swiped from a defender on his backside that he did not see coming at all. What did you make from another night where Matas looks aggressive, but his shot's not falling and he's a little bit sloppy with the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's the flashes at this point, right? He's not a player that's going to come in and be ready to impact winning at a high level, but you like what you see in terms of the way he's getting into his shots. You want to be able to tell guys, all right, let's calm it down in this area. Let's shave down this area. Let's, sand it down over here and try to hone and shape him into a player that takes good shots, as opposed to saying, can you please be more aggressive? We need to get a little bit more out of you here. We need you to be able to get into your own shot, to be able to be aggressive driving the ball. And so it really is kind of an opposite problem that you have with Patrick Williams. But I think that's a good thing for a 19-year-old who's clearly got a lot of tools. We saw him operate as a ball handler a little bit in pick and roll. And I liked a lot of what I saw there, but clearly somebody who is very raw, who is very erratic with his shot taking. I believe he was 0 of 7 in the second half, 1 of 6 on the night from 3. And he did get a free throw attempt and made both from the line there in overtime that helped the Bulls seal that win. So obviously some good and some bad, but to me, it's more about how do you look while doing stuff and what can we take away from that so that we can help make the game a little bit easier for you. And I think the ball handling, his patience, getting downhill, his ability to use his body, when all that stuff comes together, he gets a little bit stronger. I just think you really have to be excited about the flashes and tools that he's showing, as opposed to the actual efficiency numbers. And that's what we talk about when we say process over results here, especially in Summer League, especially when you're a young rebuilding team. It doesn't matter really if you're winning and losing. It doesn't really matter if the ball's going in, but are you getting into good shots? Are you taking the right shots? Are you making the right basketball plays? And I think for the most part, you could say Buzelis did that. I think he tries to do a little bit too much and can get himself into trouble at times. But again, I'd rather have that than somebody who's too shy and not willing to take tough shots or not willing to get into their own offense because they don't want to step on toes.
Yeah, he's erring on the side of winning. He's erring on the side of being aggressive. That's where he's making his mistakes. And I'm okay with that. I'm completely all right with that. Like you said, Will, it's not, oh man, I wish you would just be aggressive, because I don't know how many times I sat here and was like, I don't care if he goes 0 for 25 in the Summer League. I just want it to be aggressive. I want him to showcase some things out there. Well, it depends on how the shots look. Obviously, I don't want him just shooting from half court or, shooting threes with his left hand from 40 feet. I want it to be good shots, obviously. I think I saw that tonight as well. A couple of those shots were just really good shots that didn't go in. And I was completely all right with that. Him getting the ball and trying to get out in transition and turning the ball over that way, I was all right with that, because he's trying to get the ball down the floor. And I don't think that will so much be the case in the regular season when I was looking at that, because I'm just looking at his options and will he have the option to do certain things in the regular season when he's playing on the floor with pros. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that works out. I did see the one thing, I think it was the same kind of mistakes that we've been seeing from him, just being aggressive, trying to, run and getting the ball stolen from him, or him getting to the lane and them taking away his first move He doesn't have a second move to go to yet, obviously, because he's 19 years old. And if he did, he would be the undisputed number 1 pick in this draft if that dude had a bag like that. So I was okay just sitting there watching it because it didn't deter him. None of that stuff deterred him. He continued to press. He continued to shoot. He continued to be aggressive. He continued to play that defense. And those are the things I was looking at in the summer league for him. So I'm okay with the mistakes in the summer league because I don't really see them as such. I just see them as lessons. And I think that, we saw things that he can work on continuing on into the preseason.
And like one more thing is like Alex Sarr went like 0 of 15 or 0 of 16 in a recent game, and then like was 0 of 10 after that. I mean, it would be pretty alarming if that were the case. So at least he's making some shots. Obviously, you like don't want to see him missing, but I just think that you can look at some of the ways that he was getting downhill, some of his drives, the patience, the sidestep jumpers, the dribble moves. It's like this is a guy who at some point in his career is going to make shots. You don't really have that much of a concern there. It's really just about like adding the strength to where you can get balance so you can get up and elevate over your defender. Or there was one play where he had a mismatch and it's like, do you look inside or do you try to drive through this guy or do you take a step back and kind of settle for a jumper there? And I think those are kind of the areas where it's like, yeah, there's going to be some growing pains, but like for the most part, the tools are there and you want to bet on those long-term, especially when you're entering, this kind of rebuilding era where they do need to take some bets on talent and upside. He clearly has that. And it's just about like, getting him in a position to succeed, making reads a little bit more easy for him so that he can continue to grow without being completely overburdened. And in that sense, like, I don't think having him come off the bench was such a bad thing. I mean, he still played 28 minutes. He still had a ton of opportunity with the ball in his hand. So all in all, like not the best game from him. Certainly he had 28 the other night. So it's like nowhere close to that, but just in terms of like what we actually saw, I don't think it was that much different than any of these games. Quite frankly, it was just like, did the ball go in certain areas?
Correct.
I am Scox in the comments chiming in saying definitely seemed like they wanted Matas off the ball today. It affected his game because of the poor shooting as a player right now. South Garcon saying he's on the wing too much, especially as a guy who's projecting to play the 4. You need to see him screen and work out of that action some. Also get to the middle of the floor or maybe the post. Him missing in the mid-range is way more concerning to me than missing the threes. Miles Capon, meanwhile, pointing out that he did have 5 steals, which was a bright spot. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they do anything and try and put Matas in different situations offensively in the season finale tomorrow against the Lakers, assuming he plays in that game. I think it's going to be some growing pains, like you were saying, Will, and it's more about the process than the results, especially when it comes to his shooting right now. And Dave, you touched on his defense too. And Miles in the comments pointing out those 5 steals. He also, on top of those 5 steals, had a really impressive block. He also went for another big time block and ended up getting called for a goaltending on it, which yeah, that's right. Twice. So, but to me, it always goes back to what you were saying, Dave, with the steals, with the blocks, maybe being a little bit over aggressive. It's clearly the DNA of the player that's being put on display, whether it's on the offensive or defensive end. The motor is there. The desire to go out there and play hard on every possession, it's there. It's just about kind of tightening up technique in certain points, minimizing mistakes in certain points. But whether it was offensive or defensive end, again tonight, Matas was always active, which I think is the thing that Bulls fans should want to see the most. Yeah,
that was beautifully said. Definitely the DNA of the player is what you want to watch and what be on full display for sure, because that has been our issue with Patrick Williams. Watching him play, we see what's in his DNA and we want to change who he is, immediately. So yeah, like just watching him and seeing how he plays, nothing changes with him. It doesn't bother him. As soon as it's up, it's forgotten. As soon as it's turned over, it's forgotten. As soon as it's blocked, it's forgotten. He doesn't care. He's moving on to the next play. That's exactly how you should have your mentality in the NBA. Some of the stuff that he's doing mentally can't be taught. You just either know this stuff or you don't. And he already has it ingrained in him, man. So that's what excites me when I sit and watch him play. It just really does excite me, his mental makeup of the game.
All right, still plenty more to get to from this Bulls OT win over the Hawks in the Summer League. Got to get DJ Steward. Also want to touch briefly, at least, on the game we saw from Julian Phillips. And then still beyond that, our exclusive interview from last week with Matas Buzelis when we caught up with him out in Vegas. All that more still ahead. CHGO Bulls. But first, Big Dave, tell the fine people out there in Bulls Nation about Ray.
Ray CDJR, make race Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram your number one draft pick this summer to find the perfect new car just for you this July. Shop a wider selection of vehicles at Ray CDJR and score new lower prices across their huge inventory, making this the summer sales event. Oh, it's exciting. For a limited time, lease the new 2024 Jeep Compass Latitude Lux for only $189 a month, or shop over 125 vehicles, price under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you land the perfect vehicle at the perfect price. Because when you got Ray's price promise, the numbers you are hearing now are the same ones you can expect when you're shopping in store or when you're shopping online. That's because Ray's price promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry to Ray CDJR today and shop one of Chicago's area's largest inventories. Then drive home with more money in your hip than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they are the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, because they're serving the community since 1963.
CHGO Bulls is also sponsored by BetterHelp. This year is flying by. We are already halfway through July. It's crazy. What's something that you are proud of so far in 2024? For me, I know I am proud of coming home from Las Vegas alive. Maybe you're still looking to accomplish something that you haven't yet this year. Me, co-hosting a karaoke party with Will the Goat Gottlieb. It's on my list. When life goes fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of your year. And therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. Therapy isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. It can help everyone, including you. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your busy schedule. All you have to do is fill out the brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime you want for no additional charge, whatever the reason. Take a moment, take a breath. Visit BetterHelp.com/CHGO today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/CHGO. All right, y'all, moving along, breaking down the Bulls OT Summer League win over the Hawks tonight. DJ freaking Steward. Somebody in the comments earlier was pointing out, oh yeah, shout out to our friends at C-Red UK. I picked DJ Steward at the start as our number one player to watch aside from the big three. Been impressed with him all summer league. Andrew needs to funk off and give DJ his two-way contract. I mean, like, DJ Stewart has been sort of like the quiet leader, the quiet floor general of this summer league squad this year. Obviously, all eyes are on Matas because he's the rook. Some people watching, what these other two-way contract guys are going to do. Some of the other guys that had Windy City Bulls experience coming into this. But I saw a tweet from John Hollinger, and I know Bulls fans tend to roll their eyes anytime they hear the name John Hollinger because he is not kind to the Bulls with his takes over the years. And shout out, I think our buddy Gary Ross quote tweeted us and showed it. He was saying somewhere in the latter stages of that game on Twitter, like, the Bulls need to seriously lock up DJ Stewart and give him one of their remaining two-way roster spots before some other team picks him up. And I hate to admit ever agreeing with John Hollinger because I think he's kind of a douche, but I think he's right about that because DJ Stewart has been calm and steady and solid throughout these first 4 summer league games. And then today was the day when he just went off. He scores 37 points, including going 8 of 14 from behind the arc, a perfect 7 of 7 at the free throw line. Oh, and still tacked on 7 assists to that number. He did also, like Matas, have a bunch of turnovers today, but that's Summer League. Summer League is just overflowing with turnovers. What did you make of this game from Steward, Goat? Do you think, obviously one game is not enough to be like, that guy gets a contract, but I mean, he was just rising and firing and just, executing pick and rolls and coming around screens and knocking everything down, also getting to the lane. The Bulls win this game with that +7 Summer League weird rule because of a designed play drawn up for DJ Stewart, comes around a screen, beats his man off the dribble, simple lay-in off the glass down the right side. Like, DJ Stewart won the Bulls this game.
Yeah, I mean, he was outstanding, and he gets shots up. I think in general, I'm not like a huge fan of the like small, undersized score first guard just as like a player archetype. Like that's not, I mean, there's some really good players that are like that. For me personally, not my favorite style of player. And I think those are guys who can struggle at the NBA level. But I mean, we're talking about a 2-way contract here. And I feel like he has shown enough to prove that he is, an NBA caliber player. He can get shots up, the 3-point shooting. I mean, I don't really understand the Hawks game plan in that game was to just like go under every single screen and let him fire away. And he did. I mean, he just took advantage. He was 8 of 14 from behind the arc. He was getting downhill. He had 7 free throw attempts. He had 7 assists. So he was just doing a little bit of everything. Kept the Bulls in that game when the Hawks tried to make a little push there in the third and fourth quarters. And he's not a perfect player. I mean, he's smaller, so he's defensively limited. He had 6 turnovers. He can get tunnel vision at times. He's not like passing guys open, but he can make the extra read. He fights on defense. He gets over screens. I thought he hassled ball handlers pretty well. Like, to me, that's exactly the kind of guy that you use a 2-way contract on, because at the very least, he's going to help organize things for your G League players. And maybe he gets a chance to go to the NBA level, but at the end of the day, like, maybe not. Maybe you move on from him too. But that's the kind of like process you should have with these 2-way contracts. Right now, it's obviously Sanogo and Funk, and there's one open spot. We don't know who they're going to go to here, but they could just cut Funk and move off of him. There's no hit on the cap sheet. Like, the way they should be approaching this is giving it to guys like Freeman Liberty last year, like DJ Stewart this year, who could potentially help you out, that are younger, that have more upside, that show flashes of having a skill that you could rely on at the NBA level. I think with Stewart, his scoring and his pull-up 3-point shooting is clearly at that level. And that's the kind of guy that I would want to use a 2-way on. So we'll see what happens by the end of Summer League. Maybe the Bulls want to keep a roster spot open. Who knows? But for me, like, that's how they should be approaching the use of the 2-way roster spots, whether he gets it or not. That's like kind of the mentality that I would have if I'm going about deciding who to sign to that deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be boiled down to who's more talented than DJ Stewart. I don't see them as far as the people who are ahead of him with these 2-way contracts. I do not see them. The talent is evident in this young man. I mean, as soon as you saw him hit the back-to-back three, at least as soon as I saw him hit the back-to-back threes, I was like, oh, we in for a game. Like, he was, the confidence was just brimming from that young man. And yes, you're right. Well, he's definitely a score first guard. I think we talked about that in the first game that we played. He was definitely a score first point guard, which honestly, I don't mind if you're doing the other things that a point guard is supposed to do. Every point guard isn't made, the same. There's just preferences, you know what I mean? So if you're still doing your thing, the other things point guards are supposed to do, I have no real issue for it. He definitely puts in an effort on defense. I'm not saying he's a top-notch defender, but he's always there, and he's putting in that effort on defense. He definitely, as you mentioned, Will, can stabilize a team, can stabilize your offense and things like that. But he's going to get his shot off, and I don't mind that as long as it's hitting and it's not terrible shots. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But I don't see anyone close, as far as with those 2-way contracts, that's close to his level of talent, and I think that's what I'm going on right here. It's not even like it's a race. Like it's even close. It's like, no, he's better than you. Like, he should get the contract. I don't want to see the Bulls let another talent kind of walk out the door again, because immediately I think of Spencer Dinwiddie and immediately I think of Javon Freeman Liberty. Those are the two guys that come to mind, both guards that come to mind like that. And I'm just looking at this young man like, yeah, he deserves a spot somewhere on this team. Like, he won the entire game for you. That was his game. He won that game for you. Put it on full display and a nail biter, and then hit the game winner in overtime, to seal it. Like, I don't know what else he would have to prove to get something like that, but I can tell you this: if it's not here with the Bulls, you better believe he's going to get snapped up, because that is talent, and you don't just let talent just sit there like that. So he's going to be on somebody's roster. I hope it's the Bulls roster.
Garcon in the comments saying DJ Stewart needs a legit big league contract somewhere else. The Bulls are already overloaded at point guard. I mean, does that sway at all what you were saying about just adding a talented piece like this to the Bulls two-way system, G League system? Because to me, it's like, well, yeah, the Bulls have been overloaded at guard for years, and yet still somehow oftentimes don't have enough guard. Like,
exactly.
We'll see if Lonzo Ball is going to strap him up and play this season. We don't know. Apparently Javon Carter was unplayable for Billy Donovan last season. We have Kobe, we've got Io, Zach LaVine is still here, but I don't know if Bulls are overloaded at guard is a reason to not, keep DJ Stewart around, break glass in case of emergency on a two-way contract. Like, to me, that's like take the like you were saying, Dave, take the talent when it's there in front of you.
Yeah, it's that old adage about, like, if you have 3 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. And, like, you should just be, again, like, the Bulls are not in a position where they can pass up on talent. They should just bring these guys into their system, into their building, and just give them a chance. Like, give him a chance to prove that he can't be on the NBA team. I don't think any of us would sit here and say that Javon Carter is going to be around in 3 years. Like, he's not a part of the future plans of this team. We'll see if he even finishes out the 2-year contract, or if they try to move him before that. Same thing with Lonzo. Like, is he going to come back and look great? Maybe, but, like, you don't know. So you want to take as many bites at the apple as possible. This is why you value second-round picks. This is why you value summer league. This is why you value those Exhibit 10 contracts for training camp. Like, you just want to give yourself bites at the apple, chances to get talent in your building, because you never know what's going to happen. And I'm not saying DJ Stewart's going to be a great NBA player. I'm not sure he will. As I just mentioned, like, I do have my concerns about that, but who cares? I mean, we're talking about a 2-way roster spot. At the very least, he can come in and be productive in the G League, help some of your other young players. Like, let's say Matas needs some time in the G League. Wouldn't it be great for him to have a good point guard down there who could help facilitate and get him the ball in his spots? Like, that's why you go get those guys. And so, to me, they have one open 2-way roster spot. I think they should make 2 and move on from Andrew Funk as well. But this is the kind of player that you should be going for. Guys that can help your other young players get better, but that also have upside. Like, that, to me, that's a no-brainer. And I think, if you're scoring 37 points in a summer league game, you're clearly doing something right. And I think he will have opportunities, whether it's just in the G League or on a 2-way roster spot, whatever it is. Like, why not be the team that gives him that opportunity to say, why can't you, prove that you can do a little bit more than that? Why can't you prove you aren't going to be a part of this team's future when you're 22 years old and you just had an outstanding summer league game, and you've proven that you can score the ball at a super high level and on that, in that setting.
Yeah, I'm with you, Will. Like, I don't subscribe to that ideology. Just because we have a ton of it, we don't need any more of it. Yeah, you do, because the team still ain't good. Yes, you take the talent. I don't care. You take the talent. Even when the Patriots had Tom Brady, they still were drafting quarterbacks. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you take the talent if it's there, man, because you have no idea what is going to happen. You don't know, God forbid, an injury happens, somebody changes their mind, doesn't want to be there, a trade happens, anything can go down, and you don't want to be caught, holding the bag. So you go ahead and you get the talent that you can get, especially when it falls in your lap like that. Unless you have something there that is better and you just believe in more, okay, that's different. We've looked at the roster, it ain't there. So you should definitely go ahead and take this young man, allow him to develop within your system. That's a great point Will brought up about allowing him to play with Snogo and other guys in the G League. Let him develop and grow and see what he turns into. Because, again, we don't know the future at all. All we know is what's going on right now. And right now, you take what's in front of your face.
In your face.
In your face. Shout out to our guy, Kyle. What was the comments? Reminding y'all to leave a like on the video if you're tuning in, hanging out with us on YouTube. We appreciate it. Make sure you also subscribe to that CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Okay, still have the exclusive Matas Buzelis interview that we got with him while we were out in Vegas coming up later on in the show. Here, CHGO Bulls covering Summer League presented by Coors Light. But first, Big Dave, what we got next?
Anytime.
Ooh, yeah.
It's your home for judgment. I said cannabis. It's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. I have been to Sunnyside, ladies and gentlemen, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality hydroponics in the city. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It's your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city like Wrigleyville and River North, all the way to the suburbs like Champaign, South Beloit, and much, much more. And here for the summer is Good News Tea Time Disposable Vape, bringing classic lemonade flavor that's perfect for the golf course. See you Monday, because we all need a little help staying loose on the green. Head to sunnyside.shop and use the code HICHGO at checkout for 35% off your favorite brands like Cresco, Good News, and more to elevate your first purchase. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and over or Illinois Met Card holders.
And just a reminder that now is the perfect time to sign up to become a CHGO diehard if you aren't one already. If you are, shout out to you, and thanks for joining the Cool Kids Club. A bunch of our Summer League coverage from our trip out in Vegas this past week was for diehards only, including a couple of those columns from Will the Goat Gottlieb breaking down the nuances of Matas Buzelis' game and our first look at him in Summer League. My Summer League diary version of the pecking order, part 4, final part, just wrapped up right in that earlier today. That'll drop probably tomorrow. All of the behind-the-scenes shenanigans of our Vegas trip. Who doesn't want to read that? Is also for diehards only. Of course, you also get access to that diehards only Discord channel, one for each of your favorite Chicago teams, interacting and hanging out in there with your fellow diehard fans. Plus 20% off every single time you shop at that CHGO merch locker. Don't worry, we're bugging our graphic designer who spearheads most of our tee designs about getting a shirt for that number 11 pick, because somebody hit us up on Twitter today being like, yo, y'all got a Matas shirt yet? Like, just wait. When we do, you can pick that as the free shirt you get when you sign up to become a CHGO diehard. That merch locker also has all kinds of great stuff. Winter caps for you Chicagoans, baseball style caps, pint glasses with some of our retro logos on them. Really cool stuff in there. 20% off every time you shop. Plus discounts on our ticketed events like our CHGO Bears tailgates, one for every home game, Bulls and Blackhawks takeovers at the Madhouse, all that fun stuff. There's just perks on perks on perks to become a diehard. Plus, of course, the fact that it's literally pennies a day for an annual membership. So what are you waiting for? Sign up to get the best of the best coverage from all of us here at CHGO. Join the Cool Kids Club. Be a diehard. All right. With that, young Spathis, if you are ready and waiting in the wings, let's queue up this exclusive interview.
Just one thing before we start it. I just wanted to lay the land a little bit, because this was, and we can get into more of the behind the scenes of it afterwards. It's about 10, 11 minutes interview with Dave, myself, and Matas. We were invited to this Call of Duty premiere that he was a part of. And so it was through that. So we asked him a couple of questions about his video game habits and just, how much he likes playing COD and the new game that he was kind of involved with the tournament. So a couple of questions on that to open it up. And then we kind of got into more of his basketball and life and stuff like that. So we're going to let you guys listen to it now, and then we'll break it all down afterwards.
Shout out Joey Spathis.
Shout out to Joey with the mic.
To the side of us, and we are joined by Matas Buzelis, the 11th overall pick in the 2024 draft. Just finished playing his first NBA Summer League game. I know you've had a million interviews. I know you've had a ton of questions about the draft. We're going to try to avoid all that stuff and just talk hoops, talk life. We can start with the Call of Duty game.
Well, I still honestly to this day play BO2, BO3.
Okay.
Those are probably the greatest games ever created, to be honest. I think a lot of people think that, but...
Are you enjoying playing the new game?
Well, I haven't played the game yet, but I saw a little preview. I can't really disclose a lot about it, but it looks crazy.
What do you think? What do you find so fun about it? Because when I watch my friends play, like, it's like they're really in the military. Like, how they're talking to each other in their headphones. Like, is it just the competitiveness of it?
No, the game is serious. The game is real.
Okay.
It's not like it's real. It's a real game. You're not playing on a controller. It feels like you're actually like in real life. So,
and that's what gets you in there.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that.
So, like, obviously the draft process has been wild, but like during the season at all, are you ever bringing those like portable, TVs and controllers to play on the planes or play with any of your teammates?
On the planes, no, but when I'm back home, and I have a couple hours off, I'm on the game for sure.
It's playing with like old friends from growing up.
Yeah.
So, obviously with video games can get very competitive. Obviously we know you are hyper competitive on the basketball court. And that was one of the things that through like the whole draft process, just getting a chance to know you a little bit, we've come to learn is just like your competitive nature. Has that always been a part of like who you are, and where do you think that started?
I don't know where it started, but I feel I want to win everything I do, not just basketball. I mean, if you're gonna do something, at least try to, the least thing you could do is win. Try to win, and that's what I want to do.
Now, see, I'm the youngest of 6, so I know you're the oldest brother. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of that competition that you had, has come with your younger brother. Yeah. So is that kind of where that kind of killer instinct kind of develops at? It starts really young with your brother?
Yeah, me and my brother would go at it a lot, because he's younger. He's always trying to test me, but now it's just we know it's all love at the end of the day. But I wouldn't even say it's from him, honestly. It just grew. I don't even know where it came from, but it just grew on me and while playing basketball.
Just something that's natural that was just developed in you. Yeah, that's real. What made you pick up a basketball, bro? Like, because you just seem like a competitive person that wants to compete at everything. What was it about basketball that made you say, I want to pick that up and go with that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. My parents played professionally in Lithuania, but I was in every single sport growing up. But basketball I knew it was in the genes, and I tried to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
You've been obviously growing up around the Chicago area. I think you played for Full Package, right?
Yeah.
So I actually also played for Full Package back in high school. It's like the lowest possible level. But just like, coming up through the ranks, having that kind of like killer instinct, like Dave was saying, with like taking the last shot, even just like watching you today, I mean, going for putback dunks constantly, it just felt like you're constantly trying to like assault the rim, assault the paint. And that's what Billy Donovan III was saying. Is that just kind of like the mentality with all this?
Yeah, that's awesome that you played for Full Package.
Not well.
not well. But yeah, one of the key factors was assault the paint, not attack the paint, assault the paint, and we try to do that. Just go in there trying to murder someone. But it's one of the key factors, and many of the key factors that we use.
I don't know. I just saw this tab. I just wanted to know what this tab was on your wrist right here.
Yeah, it's just all my family, my whole family names. My mom, my dad, my brother, and my older sister.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I like that. I was thinking of getting one. I unfortunately just lost a family member, and that's exactly what I was thinking of getting, like the date of birth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, around the wrist and everything, because I think that's one of the cool things is you're so close to your family. Like even watching your documentary, watching your father stretch you out, you know what I'm saying, those kind of things. Can you talk about, what your mother and your father kind of instilled in you, you know what I mean, to be like, I'm going to be this dude right here? Because you're confident, but you're not cocky. You know what I mean? That comes with humility, and that obviously comes from your parents.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think it's a mix of my mom and my dad. My mom is hyper competitive, and my dad is like very humble, and that's one thing that he teaches me. But yeah, me and my family are very close. We went through a lot of struggles, and that made us who we are today.
Yeah.
That tattoo just reminds
you every time you see it. Yeah, I like that, man.
We have talked a little bit about just like the transition from G League to the NBA level. And I know you've been asked about the jump shot a million times, the weightlifting, all that stuff. But like just from a process standpoint, in terms of what you guys are working on in the gym, the strength and conditioning staff that you're working with now, what's been like the biggest surprise or change from where you were last year, even back in high school and just like that kind of development of understanding what like all the behind the scenes work that you have to put in to be at the NBA level?
You got to work extremely hard, but I mean, it wasn't really a transition. Me going to the Bulls, I was already in the G League, so it was already a sneak peek of what the NBA is going to be like. But we'll see when training camp starts, and I know it's going to be more difficult. But right now, it wasn't really a transition. It felt like a G League game today, to be honest.
What about like the strength and conditioning stuff? Has there been any changes or adjustments or like new things you're focusing on since joining the Bulls?
Honestly, just eating more, but I work hard, so I know that everything's going to come into place one way or another. But, yeah, just eating a lot, lifting still, of course. Not many changes there, and staying in shape.
I know Dave had a question about eating and pizza, so I'll pass it along to him.
Yeah. Food questions, as you can tell, Matas, is my thing. Yeah. So I had an issue with you, brother. So I saw you on a video in New York eating some pizza. It looked amazing. It looked delicious. Right. But when they asked you what was the best, you said New York pizza, hands down, is better than Chicago pizza. Would you care to elaborate on that, my friend?
Yeah. So let me know the place in Chicago where I can go. Like, name a place.
Dude, I would take. Look, Pequod's is one. Okay. I could take you there. If you want to come around where I'm at, I could take you to Italian Fiesta. That's one of them. A lot of people like Lou Malnati's. It's cool.
Do you like deep dish?
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. You know, Chicago is tavern style. Yeah. That's where we start. Okay. You know, deep dish is a dessert. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that, you earned that, bro. I'm talking tavern style, man. Come on, man. We gotta hang out now. They doing you wrong, man. We do. But the pizza looked good.
The pizza was crazy, though. It was crazy. I don't gotta lie, though.
No, I don't want you to. Yeah. But no, I'm gonna mess with you. That's all.
Yeah. We'll see. I think there's probably some spots in Chicago. Mm-hmm. It's just like I had Giordano's.
Yeah.
It's not. Cool. It wasn't like the New York one. It was.
Agreed.
Like New York was so fire.
Yeah. No, man, it looked fire. And I gotta ask you, man, since you being a Chicago guy, Cubs or White Sox, bro?
White Sox.
Come on. Okay, you back on the team. You back on the team, Matas. You cool with me.
Coming back and playing with the Bulls, a lot of people have been asking you about like how great is it to be drafted by your hometown team. Mm-hmm. I'm curious about the other direction. Like, are there any negatives that you've felt so far about like being home? Like people hitting you up from a million years ago, trying to ask for tickets or whatever. I don't know. What's that been like?
Yeah, of course, people are reaching out, but one thing you got to realize is it's okay to say no. Mm. And you got to realize that fast, or people can take advantage of you really quickly. But no, I don't ever see no negatives. Of course, the only some negative stuff that you can say is when you're on the court, and that's what you got to learn from. But no, I don't see no negatives coming back home or playing for an NBA team.
Any like additional pressure being from this team? Is it like kind of would it have? I don't know. We have asked you a bunch about just like the excitement about being back to your hometown team, but does that add any more extra butterflies than there would have been if it was a other random team?
No, not at all. I work really hard, so I don't ever feel no pressure.
I wanted to ask you about your jersey number because I saw you number 14. Is there something special about that number to you?
Yeah, so I used to wear 13, but Torrey Craig has 13. But my dad's I was born October 13th, and my dad was born October 14th, so I'm really wearing it for him, and it's really close to 13. So
yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
I want to know more about like your just like being online. Are you at all like involved in NBA Twitter? Do you like see all the like debates and narratives going around about the NBA? Do you just stay offline?
I don't know. I try to stay off the media as much as I can and just focus on the main thing. But of course, when you're laying down in bed, you scroll and you see some BS. But yeah.
What's your social media of choice?
Social media of choice, Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. Top 5 rappers. Or you know what?
I'm an underground. I listen to underground. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
So I'm Autumn, Jace. Who else is there? Ken Carson.
Yes.
Ken Carson. Man, hold on. Now I gotta see.
Yeah. Okay, we get the phone. Let's do it, man. Let's do this.
That's an important question.
Yes, it is, and I'm glad you understand that it is, my friend.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Very important question.
Yes, sir, man. Ken Carson is ill, though.
Yeah,
I like Ken Carson. Yeah, for real. Ken is nice. I like that you underground with it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Underground.
I like that.
No. Oh, V's, and Ludfo.
Ludfo. Okay.
Yeah, that Chicago guy.
Yes, sir. All right, that'll be it. That's wrapping it up. Myself, Big Dave, my man Will to Go Gottlieb, man of the hour, Matas Buzelis. Thanks for joining us, bro.
And there it is. The
All right, guys, this
Vegas
is Will with CHGO Bulls.
exclusive
We got Big Dave.
interview with Matas Buzelis, Bulls number 11 draft pick, brightest eyes of Summer League. Guys, as someone who was not there, just y'all's initial reaction to getting that sit down with Matas, because man, I have so many thoughts and so many things to say about every single one of his answers. But what was it like to just get to sit down and chat with him?
Go for it, Dave.
I mean, it was cool. Like, he was a normal guy. I never try to lose sight that these are kids. You know what I mean? Like, these are kids at the end of the day. And, some people like asking them, very, grown adult things, which is fine. I'm sure they can handle it. You know what I mean? But I just try not to lose sight of that. Like, what would I want to be talking about at that age? And, what questions would I want to answer? So it's just about, being honest. And he is very, very honest. And I really, truly respect that. Every time, we had a conversation, because you heard him saying when we were talking about pizza, he was like, what you want me to do, lie? And he's like, no, man, I want you to be honest. Like, he likes being honest. And even when the cameras stop, even when the interview stopped, we just continued talking and, having more discussion about stuff. And it was just really cool, getting to know him, knowing what makes him tick, knowing how close he is to his family. Hearing about his jersey number was really cool. I definitely didn't know that. So yeah, man, like he let us in a little bit, and it was cool. He's a good dude.
I also think that, like, when you're in that situation, it's hard to imagine like how much these guys are doing media, and like how much Matas was like doing the media circuit, talking with a million different people, being on a million different podcasts. He was on Mark Stein and Chris Haynes like the day before us. He was on Kevin O'Connor. Like, he's doing, Sirius XM. He's just like all over the place. And so, one, I just like appreciated him taking the time to do that with us, because it was a really cool opportunity. But two, it's just like, I think to your point, Dave, about him just being a kid, like that's so much. It's obviously a massive part of what being in the NBA is, and like a big part of that job. But it is also like I don't think it's any NBA player's favorite part of that job. So I always appreciate it. I never take that for granted that we get an opportunity to do that. And so it's also a different setting than most of the interviews that we get to do. I mean, I'm usually in the locker room talking to guys after their game, and I'm not like in a hotel room talking with them about like life. And so it's cool to hear a little bit more about who he is as a person, what the stuff that he's into, and how, like, I think a lot of what he has said in interviews is like very much the same, because a lot of the questions have been the same. And I was trying to avoid doing that while still asking him some questions about basketball and like trying to connect in that way. But that's why I was really glad you were there with me, Dave, because I think you're much better at just like getting people to open up as people. And so I hope that we were able to accomplish that.
Yeah, it was really cool to listen to a wide-ranging conversation like that. And Will, your question, speaking to the fact that you remind yourself these are just kids or young men, if you feel like that's the more appropriate way to label it, but still like on the precipice of just being bogged down by the media requirements and people pulling you in 8 directions at once kind of life that professional athletes have in this country, and seeing a guy as young as he is handle it, at least from an outsider's perspective, very well. And you asked him, Will, like, is there any added pressure due to the fact that you got drafted to your hometown team? And he was very blunt and assertive in his answer, which was no. Like, I'm thrilled to be an NBA player. I can't wait to be, playing NBA games. And it seemed like he was thrilled on draft night that he did end up falling to the Bulls at 11 when most people thought he would have been taken off the board, before then. And it seems like it hasn't affected him at all. He did mention the thing about people, kind of come around and hit you up for this or want your attention from that. And, already it seems is learning that lesson that I think a lot of pro athletes don't learn quickly enough, which is you have to be able to say no at some point. And to me, it's not at all surprising to hear and to know that Matas has already figured that out, because he strikes me as someone who's very clearly focused on basketball, winning at basketball, and as you were talking to him about, Dave, family, and everything else beyond that is secondary, tertiary, and by a wide margin. Yeah, and you couldn't see it, but I don't know if Will saw me doing it either, but when he was answering those questions and saying, like, I don't feel no pressure, you know what I mean? Like, none of that. I'm over there, going crazy like this, like, yup, that's right. Yup. Like I'm saying, because I was so excited, you know what I mean, to hear that kind of thing from a young 19-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, you don't hear those kind of things. Like, the mentality he has, I know grown men older than him that don't have that mentality, who are still striving to get those kind of things. Like you mentioned, the saying no to people like that. Like, there are whole documentaries made up about athletes who couldn't say no and they went broke because of it. Like the fact that he's there already just excites me so much for him, just as a man, and then also as a ball player, because all of that stuff translates to the court, and you see it when you watch him play, just how he plays with that confidence, not a cockiness, but a confidence, a very strong confidence that he has in his game, man. Like, yeah, he's something. He's really, really something. And I'm just happy Will and I got that opportunity to, find out a little bit more about him.
Yeah. And I think it speaks to, like, the first time I talked to him was at the combine, and he gave, an answer about, like, not caring if he was drafted by the Bulls. He just wants to go somewhere that fits, and not being worried about his 3-point percentage at the G League, because he was confident in the work that he puts in. And I think the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, this guy's like, doesn't even think those things are issues. Like, it just doesn't occur to him. But I think now, having talked to him a little bit more, it's like, no, he's just like that confident in himself, his work ethic, the positions that he's put himself in, the preparation that he has. Like, he didn't go to the G League because he thought that was going to, like, make him the most money or get him the most famous or whatever. It was like, he wanted to be prepared for the NBA. And that was the best place where he could do that. And I think you saw, just in talking to him a little bit longer than like a 1-minute interaction, that it really does come from a place of, like, a desire to be great, and a desire to put himself in the best position, and a desire to win and work hard to get to the highest level, that is motivating him and driving him. And, I think he's going to continue to, like, open up, and as he gets to know, like, the media a little bit more, as he gets away from, like, the draft coverage and now more into, like, NBA career stuff, like, I think all that's going to come together. But it's just been cool to kind of get to see a bit of him before he was a Bull, a bit of him since, and I'm excited to get to know him more as, his career with the Bulls unfolds.
Yeah.
Amari in the comments saying he's already been a pro and has his priorities set. Garcon saying dope. He seems to really be motivated to prove he's a top guy. Mike Alley-oop saying, I think no question he was a top 5 talent in this draft. Mike also saying that he respects the New York pizza nod. Dave, I love that conversation just like was like, okay, we're feeling each other out. You said New York pizza better than Chicago. What's the deal? You let him answer, and then you say, well, yeah, what about this? It's not deep dishes. Taverns. And then, like, at one point you just said, no, you're wrong. Like, young man, like, you're wrong. Let me prove to you that you're wrong. Like, let's go get some pizza. And to Matas' credit, he seemed open-minded. He was just like, yeah, I was out in New York and I had this, pizza that was fire.
And afterwards, he was just like, no, you don't understand. This place that we went to, I can't remember the name of it. Joey, you can pop
Joey
in
knows.
And tell us, because I know he went there too. But he was just like, no, you don't understand. This place was so good. Ruby Rosa.
Ruby Rosa, yeah.
So.
Yeah, he talked about it seriously. Then when it was over, like, we continued the conversation, you know what I'm saying, about the pizza when it was over. And I love what he said to me, because honestly, he said something to me that like Chicago people say, where he was like, look, man, wherever I go, it's Chicago all the time. It's Chicago over everything. Like I'm looking at him like, that's the stuff I say all the time. Like, it's Chicago or everything. Like, no. I understand. I have this opinion, but please understand, it's Chicago all day long with this. You know what I mean? So I gave him a couple more places. I mentioned Cold Fire to him. You know, like, there's a couple more places he could check out for pizza. But he was like, yeah, man, we should go get some pizza. I'm like, I know. Like, I got to take you to get some pizza, dog. Like, I can't have you out here with this philosophy. I just can't.
Alberto in the comments saying Matas wanting to wear number 13 is a big deal. He grew up watching D-Rose and Noah. He can give me Noah vibes. And, you know, you got that answer out of him, that actually it's about the fact that, you know, his birthday, October 13th.
Yeah, October.
And his dad's birthday is actually October 14th. And when he said, well, Torrey Craig has number 13, my brain exploded into a million pieces for being reminded of that fact. Because I was like, oh, shit, Mata's saying he used to wear number 13 when he was younger and he wanted 13, but Torrey has 13. Y'all know I don't like it when anybody wears the number 13 in a Bulls jersey. I think it should be in the rafters. I got a framed autograph one on this wall right freaking here. Yeah. But you know what I already know and love about Matas is he has Joakim brain. And if he wants to wear number 13, then Torrey Craig, go the hell away and give number 13 to Matas. That's what I say.
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because there was a whole thing yesterday that came out about Aya switching numbers back to 11, which is what he wore at University of Illinois and at Morgan Park. And obviously DeMar had that for the last 3 years. So he moved from 12 to 11. And maybe that happens after next year when Torrey Craig's contract is up, or maybe he gets traded sooner.
Yeah, you need that, Matt, because the people that have worn it since Joakim, it ain't been a good run for 13s. You know what I'm saying? Since Joakim gave that up, I'm looking at Tony Bradley immediately when I think of that number. So yeah, it's been a tough one. It's been a tough one, dog.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here. give that young man number 13.
Yeah.
The others, you know, the stuff that he was talking about with, you know, his family. You asked him about the tattoo, Dave, and you know, all of the ways in which he is trying to, whether it's the jersey number for his dad, like the ways in which he's honoring his family while doing this. I did also simultaneously think it was kind of funny that when Will, you asked him, like, you're clearly a very competitive person, regardless of what it is, video games, basketball, but like, why basketball? And his answer was, I don't really know. Well, you know, I guess, of course, both my parents played professionally, you know, in Lithuania. So there's that. But, you know, I guess it's in my genes, my DNA, that I chose basketball. But clearly, it was just another example of everything going back to his family. And I mean, we got our first glimpse at that on draft night, and everything since has followed that right in line. Like, this dude cares about basketball and he cares about family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think he's going to continue to care about those two things moving forward too. Like, he just doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's going to get distracted from his vision and from his goals. And again, I think that speaks to his professionalism, his mentality, but also just like, that's the kind of guy you want to invest in, right? Like, if you are trying to build a group of young players, he's the kind of guy that's going to hold himself and others accountable. He's going to want to win. He's going to want to get better. And, you know, again, we've talked about the tools. We've talked about the flashes, the ball handling, all that stuff. Like, I think that when you have, like, it's great to have the tools and like, you want to see that, but like, when you get to know someone's mentality and their work ethic, like, it's kind of a cliche that like the guys who put in the work are going to be the ones that succeeds, but it really is true with basketball. Like, every single player who becomes really good says that. And I think there's something to it. And so, you know, his focus, his mentality, his approach to the game, I think that's why he is as good as he already is, but I think it's why you can also bet on him to get a lot better.
I also did love the fact that I found out that his mother is the goon and his pop is the cool one. I thought that was cool to hear too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't usually hear it in that way. You usually hear like, oh, dad is the hothead and mom is the one keeping it cool. So knowing mom is the one with the goon tendencies hits a little bit differently. And I like it so much hearing that, man. So yeah, man, it was just really cool. It was just really cool. And I wish I had other words to say outside of really cool, but that's what it was. Like, it just was really cool and really dope to meet that young man. And I hope we get another opportunity to meet him again, and maybe he comes in studio and Matt gets that opportunity also to meet that young man, because he's a delight.
Yeah, you got to soften him up and teach him a few things about Chicago pizza before I yell at him when he comes to the studio.
Well, maybe I should have a talk with Matt first. I got to talk to Matt first.
That was another answer of his I loved when, Will, you were asking him about maybe changing up, if at all, his kind of strength and conditioning routine, moving up to the next level, the NBA level. And he said, yeah, just eating. I was like, good.
I know.
Good.
The question I
young
really
man,
wish I followed up with was, how many calories a day are they making you consume? I fucking missed on that one. Actually, I didn't swing. I went down looking.
Yeah.
also, shout out to Go for the little flex referencing your high school basketball career that had some overlap with Matas.
Yep.
And then after flexing, immediately cut yourself off at the knees when Matas was like, "Oh, that's cool that you play there," and you go, "Yeah, not well."
I didn't play well, but I did play.
We are just about out of time, but Dave, real quick thoughts on Matas's playlist or whatever he was, rattling off when you asked him about music.
I knew two of them that you mentioned, and we talked about it. Like Ken Carson, I already knew for sure. He's out of Atlanta, and Autumn I knew too as well. But I like his take. I like the fact that it's underground. I didn't want to hear him call out rappers that were my age, because I'll be like, what you hollering out 50, 60-year-old rappers? Like, come on, dog. Like, what are you listening to? You know what I mean? Tell me what you like, because that's what I want to know. So just him actually doing that, let me know it's no lie in him. Like, he is very comfortable in his skin, man. And again, that is very hard to find at the age of 19, like, for real.
See, that's where you and I differ, Dave, because if someone comes to me with music made by someone born after the year 1980, I'm like, shut up, I don't care.
This is true. That is Matt Peck, ladies and gentlemen. That is true. With me, I'm like, oh, for real? Tell me about him. Yo, I want to hear. Like, yo, let's put it on. Let's hear it. Like, what's going on?
That'll do it for today. That'll do it for the week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into all of our Summer League coverage here at CHGO Bulls, which has, of course, been presented by our friends at Coors Light. We had a great time in Vegas. Hope you enjoyed this Matas interview. Bulls have their Summer League finale tomorrow against the Lakers. We will not be doing a post-game show for that one. This is our 7th straight show day in a row. Fun fact, between our Vegas trip and coming back home. So hope you've enjoyed all of it. Just a reminder, go check out all of Will's stuff, allchgo.com, to read his coverage of Summer League. He's already, I believe, got some game notes up from this one that just concluded tonight. Go give the pecking order a read if you are a diehard. If you aren't a diehard, sign up. Follow Will_Gottlieb. Big Dave is at BAL, BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. Our pal producer extraordinaire, plus now credentialed photog at an NBA Summer League game, and video editor and vlog creator, the one and only multifaceted Joey Spathis at Joey Spathis.
We read best.
We are off next Monday due to the CHGO golf outing that's going on. Shout out to any of y'all who are participating in that. Good luck to everybody. I don't golf. Golf is dumb. But everybody have a good time. We will be back on Tuesday with a fresh episode for y'all. Until then, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Have fun. See you, Brad. Be good.
Peace.